welcome to HANSA.newscast. I'm Janne Silden, and today I'm joined by Daniel Bischofberger, CEO of Accelleron. Welcome, Daniel.
Hey, welcome, Janne, and thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Yes, I look forward to digging into your technology because Accelleron is a Swiss-based company best known for its high-performance turbochargers. Would you agree that turbochargers themselves aren't new, but are now being radically reinvented to meet the demands of new fuels and stricter emission targets?
Let's take a look back first. 1904, the Swiss engineer Alfred Büchi filed the patent for turbocharger. So turbocharger was invented in Switzerland, you won't believe it. 1924, it was the BBC Turbocharging, the predecessor company of Accelleron, produced the first commercial turbocharger. And 2024, Accelleron celebrated the 100-year anniversary. So the concept of a turbocharger is not new. It's 100-year-old. But performance-wise, huge development. So let's compare the first turbocharger versus today's state-of-the-art turbocharger. By the way, the first produced turbocharger is on display at our headquarters in Baden. And he has a nickname. It's called Victor. I don't want to go into detail. There's a lot of things behind, but we call him Victor now. So, the first turbocharger had a pressure ratio of 1.3 bar and needed 2 compressor stages. Today, the state-of-the-art turbocharger, 1 single stage compressor up to 6 bar. So almost 5 times more. But today's turbocharger is still highly efficient and extremely reliable. But what's even more important, turbocharger becomes one of the key components for decarbonization. So that still means efficiency and reliability is everything, but more and more, it's about flexibility. So when we talk about efficiency today, it's about reducing CO2 emissions. But tomorrow, when we have new fuels, CO2 neutral fuels, it's not about reducing CO2, it's about saving costs, because this fuel will cost 2 to 3 times more than today's fossil fuels. And when we come to flexibility, it's about different fuels. I mean, these turbochargers need to be managed, today's fuels like heavy fuel, diesel, LNG, biofuels, ammonia, methanol, and hydrogen. And they need higher efficiency over wider operating range. So in the past was all about getting the highest efficiency at one operating point. And so, but today we need to have an optimized efficiency for the whole range, so from maximum load to low load. And for that, we are working very closely with the OEMs to ensure that turbocharger remains a key enabler of efficiency and fuel flexibility as engine platforms evolve.
Yeah, and your ACC X300L turbochargers is launching this year, and you presented a paper on some of the innovation around it at CMAC in May. Have you already seen a reaction from the industry, and how do you see that developing?
First of all, I have to accept the name is a bit complicated, but we call it Accelleron X300L or just simply X300L. So this turbocharger will be our next generation turbocharger for low speed and 2-stroke engines. So, and this product the concept is quite revolutionary. And it's already mentioned before, it's all about flexibility for fuel, for operating range, maintenance and digitization. So first of all, it's fuel agnostic. So no matter what the fuel, whether it's conventional, it's traditional or synthetic fuel, and you can even retrofit the turbocharger. And in the past, for low-speed turbocharger was all about high pressure, more air, and finally high efficiency. So the larger, the better. And today, there's limited value to have more pressure and air for 2-stroke engines. So that's why we moved the other way. So we used our world-class technical turbocharger design know-how to reduce the size instead of increasing, and at the same time keeping the performance at least at the same level, including efficiency. But so it's about downsizing, and this helped introduce now a really new way to have turbochargers. So we introduced what we call a cartridge concept. for low-speed turbocharger, which is common for turbocharger that run on medium-speed auxiliary engine. And the large one, you had to do service during a dry dock. So every 5 years, a ship goes on dry dock. Because it was so big, you had to do it on the ship. But now this one, you just go on the ship, you take the cartridge out, you exchange, you put a new one in, and this can be done during a port stay. So you can exchange the cartridge thanks to this size. And with that one, we can extend the time between outage beyond the dry dock. So we had to exchange it 5 years, and now normally they could run another 1 year or 2 years. So, and with that one, thanks to this really revolutionary product concept, now this is enabler for service agreement where we can really have paid by the hour, remote monitoring, predictive and condition-based maintenance, and also have a cartridge pooling concept where not every customer needs to have a cartridge as an exchange. I think that's really a revolutionary.
Sounds really exciting, and it would be really nice to see how it's welcomed in the market and how things are moving forward with that. But Accelleron is spun off from ABB and has, so you quickly position yourself with a sharp focus on decarbonization. So what sets you apart from other companies in this area?
I would say there's a lot of things that set us apart, but let's focus on 3 topics. So the first one, we provide an integrated portfolio across turbocharging, fuel injection, and digital optimization. This allows us to support the complete engine life cycle from new build and retrofits to even operational optimization. And last but not least, our technical expertise and service network combined, we're also able to offer a range of upgrade solutions for existing ships. So, for example, EPLO, which means engine part load optimization, and FITS2 to improve part load performance, reduce fuel consumption and emissions, meeting increasingly stringent regulation and extends life cycle.
But you're not stopping there with the product line, because you're also expanding your digital solutions, especially through acquisition of True North Marine. You mentioned a bit about that too, but then how do you see this as a service add-on or a strategic shift in engine management? How important is it?
For me, it's definitely not just a service add-on. It's really a strategic shift. As you mentioned, it's all about vessel performance. Yeah. So creating transparency in how the equipment is performing and the various equipment they have on the ship. So, and by that one, identifying potential for efficiency improvements. So with this transparency, where do you get to know where I get the biggest bang for the buck? And digitalization now supports every part of customer journey, from engine setup to real-time voyage and emission optimization and reporting and future planning and budgeting. We are talking about window system propulsion. We talk about air lubrication system. There's more and more waste heat recovery, hybrid propulsion, and new regulation to come. So this software, this performance becomes, or this transparency becomes more important. So we offer software as a service for engine performance, hull and propeller, emission, and predictive maintenance. But what's even more important now, it's not only software. We have also what we call the human in the loop advisory service. Because a lot of customers, we realize, it's good to have the data, but they need someone who helps them to interpret. Because, data give you the correlation, but the human in the loop help you then to get the causality. Why do I get those results? What do I need to do? So this end consulting, we have a lot of captains, former captains and engineers being in contact with the customer and helping them. So with this data, this will enable the operators to make smart decisions that link sustainability and profitability. So it's not a trade-off, it's together.
Yeah. Daniel, this fits really well with my next question, because how will you describe your leadership style, especially in the context of steering a company like this with the growth and everything you have planned through a time of this industry transformation?
Let me take a step back here as well. I'm an engineer from the bottom of my heart. Just when we go quickly through my CV, I was 15 years in power generation, building and commissioning and servicing large power plants, mainly gas turbine and combined cycle, so gigawatt power plants. Then I was 8 years in power transmission, so I not only learned how the electrons were produced, but also how they were transported from A to B. Then 6 years in oil and gas for pumps, compressors, generators. And last but not least now in Accelleron, 4 years in maritime, turbocharging and fuel injection. So what I learned is what are essential industries that keep the world running. And I've learned the size of these industries. When you're standing in front of such a large power plant or 400-meter long container, so you realized without them, the modern life would not be possible the way we live it. So engineer is where I come from, and it shapes also how I lead and think. It helps me to stay grounded and also focused on solutions that, scale and deliver lasting performance. And I would say also with that background, also builds trust with the technical teams here in Accelleron, also with the customer who rely on us to solve their toughest challenges. So, innovation is not a one-way street, but a continuous collaboration, especially now when the pace of change is accelerating. So it's a time of tremendous change that puts demands not only on technology, but also on how we work and collaborate across industries. So today, world is built on fossil fuel. So 80% of primary energy comes from oil and gas. And, oil and gas industry and fossil power had 150 years to build that up. But if you are serious about decarbonization by 2050, we have just 25 years left to replace all these great industries with zero carbon solution. Partly of them exist, but we need to scale them, and partly still needs to be developed. So I would say an exciting but huge challenge, and this needs collaboration across industries.
Yeah, it sounds, Daniel, that as an engineer, you really have your dream job, haven't you?
No doubt. Look, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. And it's really, I saw with power generation, oil and gas, I know the world, and I just completely had marine never on my radar. And so I'm really deeply impressed about marine, that nobody's aware how important marine is now to keep the world running. And now I've been made aware, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, it is a cool business. I really agree about that one. But my final question is, what's next for Accelleron?
Look, short term, we all know that we have the marine as part of, under the IMO, International Maritime Organization, we have a target of in 2030, and we need to meet that. So we are scaling solution across turbocharging, injection, and digital platforms to maximize efficiency and reduce emissions and support regulatory compliance. And also we are investing in technology that are compatible with carbon neutral fuels. But the real bottleneck is the access to availability and investment in synthetic fuel. So, and here I have to say we are nowhere. What we produce today is a drop in the ocean. And we still rely too much on biofuel. And biofuel is definitely great, but it's not scalable to satisfy the demand. Just take marine and aviation. These two industries need 600 million tons of diesel equivalent and still growing. So, and we need to invest in huge amounts in the ecosystem to produce this methanol and ammonia. So producing green hydrogen, having CO2 of non-fossil origin. For the time being, everything is CO2 from fossil origin. That doesn't work. We need transport capacity, ships, pipelines. We need bunkering capacity at ports. So, and many sectors need this hydrogen. So we should not only take a look from a marine point of view. Aviation needs hydrogen to decarbonize. Fertilizer needs hydrogen, steel, and so on. So this must be solved across this sector, and through a new dimension of coordination and partnership. And here we want to be the partner that ensures that the fleet is ready when the fuels are.
Sorry. it really sounds like Accelleron is not going to be, how to say it, it's a lot going on, and it will continue going on as we move forward, because the market is so big, and from your background you see more than just the maritime, so it will be exciting to follow you, how you're moving forward in the future. So thanks a lot, Daniel, for your time. It was a great pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you, Anne.
Thanks for listening to HANSA.newscast. Subscribe now for more insights and stories from the world of shipping. And feel free to visit HANSA.news and sign up for the HANSA newsletter to stay up to date. And hey, see you at the next episode. Bye.